Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. I'm your host, Phil. Hope you had a great weekend. We've got a lot of stories to cover. So let's go into the high-level overview before we dive into all the fun. That's right. It was a very eventful weekend. So we've got some solid hopium to take a look at. We've got some comments from Rumble. Yeah, guys, there's just more and more Bitcoin slash crypto adoption. We're going to take a look at what's happening there. Who are the players that are coming to the space, and take a look at how much monetary influence they bring. Right? Core versus not. Unfortunately, we can't seem to avoid this, right? Can't seem to avoid this for very long. Okay, hold on. I already got 7 comments, so I'm thinking. Okay, good. I was just making sure I wasn't muted. Okay. Anyways, sorry guys. Going back. Okay, yeah. Core versus not, guys. We're just going to dive into this very quickly. Don't forget, tonight we have the roundtable at 8 p.m. We are going to dive further into this. Cold storage failure, maybe the first cold storage failure. We're going to dive into that. And the Fed has made a major signal shift. Could be very bullish for Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at that. Anyways, guys, you know the deal. We are just going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we are going to be right back with all the fun. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, let's dive right into it. Here we go. Comments from the CEO of Rumble. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, so obviously right now we're in the testing phase, and you're the first person to start testing it, and I think you received a few tips this morning, and we're going to start rolling that out alongside Tether here in the coming weeks, and more broadly release that in the coming. I guess, how long would you say we got till it's going to be fully released?
I would say that mid-December, early to mid-December should be our time frame to have all the small bugs and the user experience finessing done. I think it's very important when the huge campaign will go out, everything is perfect, and the back end and all the tires are being checked so they can scale to.
So just so people understand, right? Rumble is preparing to accept Bitcoin and crypto payments, right? And we're talking about for creators, right? Creators to be able to accept that as a payment.
Rumble has 51 million active users per month, so it potentially, this is one of the biggest user bases that would start adopting Bitcoin and stable coins in this history of humanity. I mean, this exercise of creating a creator economy around tens of millions of users through like a mainstream digital platform is very unique, right? It's like
okay, so the person speaking is Paolo Arduino. I'm not pronouncing his last name right, or Arduino. Anyways, he's the CEO of Tether, right? So you've got the CEO of Tether, you've got the CEO of Rumble, and I don't know who the dude is with the long hair, but he works. He also works with Rumble. But anyways, the point being is that they are preparing for these payments. So look, actually, we are streaming on Rumble today. I'm going to go back and take a look. So we used to upload videos to Rumble in the past, and then something happened with the platform, and then we weren't able to do it anymore. And then I just essentially gave up streaming on Rumble. And most recently, I guess my screen is for whatever reason frozen. I don't know, to you guys. I don't know if I'm frozen or not. Oh, lovely. Lovely. We just lost connection. Fantastic. That's interesting. Sorry. Okay, sorry guys. This is what happens when you do stuff live, right? Stuff just totally screws up. Anyways, back to it. Okay. Okay, so look, so I'm super psyched about the Rumble news. I think it's really cool. I appreciate that they're doing this, that they're going this route for creators to be able to accept Bitcoin. I don't really obviously care about the crypto stuff. But I do have to say this, right? For the creators that actually do use Rumble, I don't mean to like put a damper on this, but look, Rumble, you need to fix your backs. You need to fix your back end. Okay, the back end for creators, because the backsplash, the your logo, all of the stuff that a creator has to put up, none of it makes any sense. There's very few guidelines. You can end up uploading the same picture to multiple places. You don't know which one is actually going to be seen by the user. So anyways, look, I appreciate Rumble's efforts. Oh, what's going on there? Is the camera going dead again? No, okay. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Murphy's Law, right? I go to swap out my old camera for the new camera. Works great. And now all of a sudden, this happens. Anyways, back to the actual story. I apologize. So I really think that Rumble needs to step up their game if they actually are going to compete against YouTube. I just, sorry, like I appreciate the fact that they don't do any censorship. I appreciate the fact that this is an open platform. I get all that stuff. However, you got to step it up, right? If you're going to compete against YouTube, then you need to actually compete against YouTube. And unfortunately, the creator tools on YouTube are just a lot better, right? And the flow of creating content is a lot easier. So Rumble, I appreciate the payments, but step up the back end if you actually want people to use it. And when I say the back end, I mean the user experience for the creator. Okay. All right. Done with that. Moving on from that, let's continue with the Hopium. Here we go. So you guys may have seen this one yesterday. A quiet SEC update has officially opened the door for state chartered trust companies to serve as qualified crypto custodians, potentially unlocking $9.3 trillion retirement market. Okay, so this is where we get into the weeds, right? So this is what is actually meant by that. Right? Because essentially they're saying it's a quiet SEC update, right? So the SEC's Division of Investment Management issued a no action letter in response to a request from law firm Simpson, Thacher, and Bartlett. The SEC staff won't recommend enforcement actions against retirement investments or regulated funds for using certain state-chartered trust companies to custody crypto assets if specific conditions are met. So they must have state regulator approval. They must implement a robust policy and procedure to protect against theft and loss. RIAs and funds must conduct due diligence on the custodian and disclose risks to clients or boards. So, I mean, you just need to let people know that they could lose all their money. That's a pretty low bar. This isn't a full rule change. It's a staff relief, a low-key signal of non-enforcement. That's what they mean by it's quiet, right? Because the NALs aren't flashy announcements. They're technical letters posted on the SEC website. So the key to it all, right, is that what they mean by unlocking is that it's going to enable, right, these retirement investments, managing these funds to allocate to crypto without custody headaches. So they just simply get to hang on to it and just simply move the funds back and forth. So in other words, trusted third parties. Of course, that obviously brings up the idea that, hey, the easier they're going to make it, the more money should flow. But the reality is that these are all custodians. And I hate to say this, but there's most likely going to be a lot of paper Bitcoin. Going to be a lot of paper Bitcoin. I think this is one of the ways the contagions happen, right? Because human greed is very difficult to keep in check. Yeah. Anyways, it's definitely going to be interesting. All right, moving on, guys. We got way more Hopium here. That's right. The Nasdaq's correlation implies a fair value. Look at us, guys. We should be at 156. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see where we are. 115. Not bad. Some people weren't really expecting it to pump over the weekend, but yeah, it did. It did. All right, so this one, another one of these cryptic. Wall Street quietly braces for 6.6 trillion Fed reversal. TLDR, the government's going to print. That's what it is. The government's going to print. That's all. It's quietly. Yep, that's right, guys. So essentially, what's been happening is the government had slowed down on buying all of the assets that they had been buying. Well, green light's coming back. They're going to start buying those assets again. So therefore, that must equal moon. Okay. Very pleased with that. Very pleased. So 156K Bitcoin around the corner. The government's about the money printer's about to go burr, and hash rate at new all-time highs. What is that? 1.2 Zeta hash. It's a pretty secure network. Yeah, it's a pretty secure network. Anyways, all right, moving on here. Moving on. We got more stuff, guys. Jane Street. So if you're into the TradFi stuff, you know who Jane Street is. But if you are not into the TradFi stuff and you're wondering why this matters, well, we're going to explain it. So Jane Street's filing shows holdings of 5% or more in major Bitcoin miners. Could new institutional interest fuel the sector's continued outperformance over Bitcoin itself? Mining takes a lot of overhead. They have very high expenses. And again, obviously, like, I'm not saying that Jane Street is making a mistake or anything like that. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know any better, but I'll tell you this. I wouldn't fall for the carrot, right? I wouldn't fall for the carrot on the end of the stick. Now, what actually in this particular case, right? So if you don't know who Jane Street is, right, they're a global quantitative trading firm that acts as a market maker and a liquidity provider. So it could be said that they have knowledge, right? Or they have access to specialized knowledge, right? That could be that. Anyways, their 2024 revenue was $20.5 billion. So this is not peanuts, right? This isn't peanuts. This isn't some small little business, and they're betting big on miners, the Bitcoin miners. So we're going to see what actually happens. Oh wait, what's happening? There's one. What's going on, Matthew? Does one Bitcoin still equal one Bitcoin? Yeah, absolutely. It's always one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. But we're making fun of the fiat stuff, okay? I enjoy that. It's part of the fun. If I can't make fun of this, what do you want? Well, then I guess I could just go back to doing tech support, which was also fun, right? Dealing with people's nightmares. Okay, moving on. We are moving on from this, guys. Let's go take a look at what's next. All right, I think we're good on the Hopium. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Let's go to the adoption stuff. Yep. All right. So, Swiss digital asset bank Signum has partnered with Bitcoin lending startup Debify to launch Multisig. That's with a Y. A bank-backed loan platform allowing borrowers to retain control. You know, every single one of them is talking about retaining control of their BTC. So far, I have yet to really see a lender where you actually do get to keep control of your Bitcoin. So, like, there's always some catch, right? Like, they put you in a multi-sig and they've got one of the keys, or they've got two of the keys. Or you have to move your Bitcoin to their platform, but don't worry about it, right? Because it's your wallet on their platform. Anyways, again, I have yet to see what is actually going to happen with that. But hey, look, more of these institutions are becoming more willing to offer these products. So hey, why not, right? I guess we could say that this is. That's step in the right direction. The other piece of adoption here, the Bank of Ghana to introduce crypto regulation by December 2025. So yeah, it's really no surprise, right, that the global South is adopting Bitcoin. I mean, we've all heard the absolutely scary stories about the fact that their money in most of these places is just worth absolutely nothing. And yeah, you know what? I'm happy to see that. It's just too bad because it's all crypto regulation, and as much as I want to sit there and say to myself, oh well, this is all going to be about Bitcoin. It's really about their stable coins. That's really what it's always about. It's not really so much about Bitcoin. It's too bad. It really is. But yeah, moving on. Let's go. All right, so here we go. This might just be the first cold storage failure, guys, and you're going to be I think you're going to be surprised at who failed it. Alan Turing, guys, feared losing his savings if Germany invaded Britain. So he used the money to buy 2 90-kilogram silver bars. Probably should have bought gold. Buried them in the woods and wrote down the location in code. Later on, when he wanted to dig up the silver bars, he was unable to break his own coded message and never found them. So, is that the first boating accident? Maybe that's the first boating accident. Maybe that is the first cold storage fail as well. I'm not really 100% sure. However, it does bring up the point that there's going to be a happy medium between the complexity of your cold storage solution and your ability to understand it, remember how you set it up, and then use it when the time is needed. Okay, so you got to remember, the more complex you make it in order to get to your Bitcoin, indeed, that also makes it more complex for an attacker as well, but it also makes it more complex for you, right? So got to find that happy medium. Alan Turing, somewhere, right? Somewhere his silver is possibly buried, or he did the first boating accident. Who knows? But either way, I thought that was fun. All right, next, we are going to go take a look at. Oh, I already talked about the Fed. Okay, well then I guess we're going to dive into the core versus not stuff. I guess we're going to talk about that. Let's dive into it. So yeah, guys, if you're seeing less content on X about knots versus core, it's because we're now fighting in on the BIPs repo, and that is correct. That is what's happening. There is a new BIP, and here it is. Oh no, here it's not because it's here. Okay, so reduce data temporary soft fork. So this was put in anonymously by this account over here, Datanom, and essentially it is a soft fork proposal, right? It's not a hard fork proposal, which is good. Now, are we surprised that we're here? I'm personally not. I'm obviously disappointed that we're here. However, this discussion, I guess, was kind of always meant to happen because it's just always been getting worse and worse. And when I say that, I'm talking about. I remember when ordinals and runes and all of that stuff came out, and I remember being extremely disappointed. I'm still disappointed about that stuff, right? But at the same time, I remember what the solution was, right? The solution last time was, oh, well, just run knots, and I've stated my opinion on this before. I'm just not interested in running knots. And the reality is that, again, knots in its current implementation only filters out the op return data from the unconfirmed transactions. Once the transactions are confirmed, all of that crap is spreading all around anyways, okay? So yes, I appreciate the virtue signal. Yes, I disagree with, with Core's direction in this crap and quote unquote facilitating spam. However, I don't believe that actually running knots is going to fix this. Now, we're coming to this point here where there is a soft fork, and essentially what we're seeing from this soft fork is that it's not even a technical argument for the soft fork. If you go take a look at the BIP, it is a moral argument and even a legal argument that to be running this soft fork that essentially omits this op-return data. I got to tell you guys, I hope that this doesn't become a fork. I don't believe that Knott's proponents actually want a shitcoin, because that is what's going to happen. I know that they want to believe, some of these people, they want to believe that, Bitcoin is going to become what they want, this compliant thing. Sorry, guys, you need to look at the history of Bitcoin. You need to look at where it came from. The first people using Bitcoin, they weren't using it for noble means, right? Like when I first used Bitcoin, I was buying drugs. Okay. Like that's not like, this is not like some pristine godlike thing, like where you think that it is so pure and all of this stuff. There's a reason why we say that Bitcoin is the money of enemies. Okay. Like there's a reason that it should be understood that freedom is uncomfortable. Okay. There's going to be people doing things that you don't agree with, that you don't think they should be doing. However, the point of it is that each of these participants is free to participate on the network if they follow the rules, the consensus rules of the network. Anyways, so now they want to change consensus rules. See what happens. We're going to see what happens. Anyways, guys, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, myself, Ulrich, and Humble Bitcoiner, we're going to be talking about the Knots versus Core stuff. We're going to be talking about a whole lot more. Join us tonight. And of course, join us tomorrow, once again, 12:10 p.m., Monday through Friday. Daily, I'm covering all the news without the slop. Let's do it. Guys, have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you a little later on this evening. Peace. Well, maybe I won't catch you, but